Born in a post-World War II era, she grew up in a time when humanity was learning how to rebuild, not just cities, but souls. A time when silence was resilience and healing meant carrying on.
You are right to speak of ashes. It's a period when the world had gone crazy during World War I and again World War II, and then decided that wasn't the right thing, the right way to live. It's all by killing millions and millions of people. And so throughout the world, there was the wish to be better, to live better, to act better. I love the way you associate menopause and identity because it's very, very much connected to identity and very much connected in the mind of people like me who grew up feeling we are career women, we are social entities, we have a role to play. Menopause was nothing much, to be frank with you.
Absolutely.
Menopause, I have a lot of respect for women who have gone through pain or suffering or physical transformation. But I must say that for me, menopause was a word that is hardly used with menopause. It was liberation.
Liberation. Some conversations carry wisdom that cannot be taught, it can only be felt. And today's guest, Dr. Mouhiba Jamoussi, is one such force of grace. She's a woman who has lived through the eras of change. Born in a post-World War II era, she grew up in a time when humanity was learning how to rebuild, not just cities, but souls. A time when silence was resilience and healing meant carrying on. And perhaps that's what gives her understanding of struggle such rare depth, including the quiet storm that every woman faces at some point: menopause. Dr. Mouhiba Jamoussi is an acclaimed member and advisor of the ICF Oman chapter. She's a transformational relationship coach, a passionate swimmer, and above all, a woman whose presence inspires stillness and strength in equal measure. She helps professional women across the world find that elusive harmony between work and life, ambition and peace, and achievement and fulfillment. Her philosophy isn't just about managing relationship with others, but about returning to the most sacred one, the relationship we hold with ourselves. Dr. Mouhiba is also the co-author of the celebrated work featured alongside Breda McHale, and her contribution continues to touch countless lives through the power of empathy, awareness, and inner truth. On a personal note, she has deeply inspired me to turn inward, to explore my own depths, and to recognize that sometimes, just sometimes, the journey of healing doesn't start outside, it starts within. It's an absolute honor for me to welcome Dr. Mouhiba Jamoussi to this show today, a woman whose wisdom is as fluid as the water she swims in and as grounded as the lives she transforms. Thank you so much for agreeing to join us, Dr. Mouhiba, and welcome on this show.
Thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful introduction of me. You have captured so much of me, all my aspects.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
It was as if I wanted to say that I've not known you for long, but I've known you for a very, very long time.
Agree.
Perfect.
Absolutely agree.
Perfect. And today we are going to explore some nuances that we've never talked about. How your generation, one born from the ashes of war, has learned resilience in silence, and what that teaches us about modern struggles like menopause.
Well, you're right. I come from a beautiful period because you are right to speak of ashes. It's a period when the world had gone crazy during World War I and again World War II, and then decided that wasn't the right thing, the right way to live. It's all by killing millions and millions of people. And so throughout the world, there was the wish to be better, to live better, to act better. And this is why in Europe they speak of the 30 glorious years, the years that followed World War II, when there was a belief that you cannot go through a war with solidarity and then let people go their own way. And so there was such solidarity to go together, to think in terms of free medical care, free education, free housing. This was
True.
the trend following World War II.
True.
And I grew up throughout that period of time, and I grew up realizing that there was something beyond the material aspect of life that can be destroyed in no time. And so I claim to have grown with spirituality.
Wow. So, Dr. Mohiba, I mean, my understanding of how you perceive menopause is not as a struggle, as a phase, as a stage that a woman enters and she starts to rediscover her own identity.
I love the way you associate menopause and identity, because it's very, very much connected to identity and very much connected in the mind of people like me who grew up feeling we are career women, we are social entities, we have a role to play. Menopause was nothing much, to be frank with you.
Absolutely.
Menopause, I have a lot of respect for women who have gone through pain or suffering or physical transformation. But I must say that for me, menopause was a word that is hardly used with menopause. It was liberation.
Liberation.
It was liberation. You hear women complaining when they have periods. So I expect them to say, oh, good riddance. We don't have any more of these periods that we don't need. We can do it all without hindrance. And that's exactly how I felt. I felt, oh, now I can go swimming. I love swimming.
Wow.
And so I can go swimming any day, every day. Wow, isn't it amazing? Like all men who can go anytime they wish, I can do it. Like all women who don't have periods, I can do it. And I went there thanking God for having allowed this to happen. And the same with all pleasures. I would never worry, oh my God, maybe I have, because periods come accidentally.
Right.
I would never worry going to a party and thinking, oh, what if I have my periods? No, none of that. Now, why do some women still get attached to that period when they had periods? That period. Well, I would say simply because they are attached to an old narrative, which has no place in our world today, or shouldn't have place in most societies, under most circumstances. What is it? It's the reproductive role of women. Women in the past, of course, waited for the moment they could be mothers, because the moment they could be mothers, particularly mothers in my own culture, and I suppose most cultures, mothers of boys meant that, they all of a sudden had a higher status.
Yes.
They were no longer, could be divorced or could be dismissed or could not be listened to. Little by little, the boys would grow. And the more boys she had, the higher the status.
The higher the status. It's same in India as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, quite understandably, in the past, they didn't want to hear of periods ending. They wanted to remain reproductive throughout the maximum period of their lives. Today, we do not identify ourselves with just one role, being mothers. We don't. Most of us no longer do.
True, very true. One of the theories in today's world is that you enter a grandmother's phase or stage. I would say stage. What's the grandmother's hypothesis is that once you have being relieved of this duty or this stage in life where you were supposed to be reproducing, you automatically don the role of a knowledge giver, of somebody who's there to actually share the knowledge, share the family recipes, share the family insights, the wider aspects of the family, and how you would teach your children and your children's children. So that probably wasn't possible till the time you were still undergoing your bodily functions of becoming pregnant and probably, being in that motherhood zone. And that is only and only possible once you have been given this robe of um, grandmotherhood, I would say. Not the grandmother, but the grandmother, the mother of mothers, actually. And that's what so many cultures celebrate. That okay, fine. We have been upgraded in that status of ours.
I love the way you talk about the status of
Hmm.
grandmothers and la mamma.
Mama.
As I often say, la mamma, the Italian way,
Yeah.
when the mother and then the grandmother and then the great grandmother. Because indeed, the grandmother used to hold knowledge, insights, used to be visionaries,
Hmm.
thanks to a long life experience, were perceived as the center of wisdom,
Hmm.
the center of knowledge. And what knowledge? Well, the knowledge the grandmother had would go to the daughter,
Hmm.
then to the granddaughter, and it continued like that.
That's what.
Because knowledge went exactly this way.
Hmm.
Now, and here is the shift, with the introduction of education,
Hmm.
daughters became better educated than mothers,
Hmm.
and certainly better educated than grandmothers.
True.
And so, the more I knew, the less I was likely to ask my mother about knowledge in any way. Her knowledge was about cooking, dressmaking,
So many things.
bringing
So many things what education can't actually bring in.
absolutely. All of this had a lot of importance. What I could add was extremely important.
Yeah.
It was paid work. My grandmother worked all the day. My mother worked all her life, but they were paid no money. And so their work was considered okay, nice.
Hmm.
But she was no breadwinner. And so she was under the authority of breadwinners,
Hmm.
male members of the family.
Hmm.
Since the moment we, my generation, became career women, we now have a status added to an earlier status. I could still cook, and I myself could make my own dresses. Yes, I now had, once I became an adult, I became a career woman, which my mom and my grandmother could not be. So they had all the knowledge, but their knowledge was less important than having a career,
Hmm.
because I became a breadwinner.
Hmm.
And so I became financially and also in practical terms independent compared to my mother, who could never be independent, nor my grandmother. They were financially dependent on the male members
True.
of the family. So in terms of knowledge, yes, they could give knowledge, but my knowledge was bringing a career, an income, and wider knowledge, which surpassed cooking and dressmaking.
Hmm.
As, if I may add, as for my granddaughter, she has done the same.
Hmm.
Because when I get stuck with my laptop and I would say, excuse me, she would say, Mommy, again. And I say, yeah, sorry, because this, I don't get it. You shouldn't have pushed that button. So you see how knowledge, which used to go from grandmother, mother, daughter, granddaughter, now has gone the other way around.
Right.
Which means that my granddaughter knows more than I, and I know more than my mother, and my mother knew better than her mother. See, this is what has happened. The shift, thanks to education and later to technology.
Technology and also the modern medicine, I would say. Now, if you talk about what we've been talking all this while on this podcast, is that how a woman could not have taken the blueprint of what is going to happen during menopause from her mother and from her mother eventually. Why? Because this was an aspect which is unique to every woman. But you bring in another very beautiful angle to it, which says that the flow of knowledge, the flow of information has reversed. A girl does not require to listen to her mother and her grandmother because she feels that she is more knowledgeable, maybe more educated, but really, really not knowledgeable. Now, I would request you, Dr. Mouhiba, to shed some light on your growing up years, when you were growing up on a farm, as you mentioned earlier when we were speaking. You grew up on a farm that had herbs. Your knowledge of herbs probably will not be the same as probably my knowledge of farm herbs, because I've just learnt about it. I've done schooling about it, but you've actually grown on such a farm, so your knowledge is vast.
I grew up, and when you say grew up, I'm extremely moved because I was part of it.
Hmm.
You know, we moved among trees as if we were just like those birds. We moved with birds.
Hmm.
There were a few cats around, and we moved around. We were part of the farm.
Hmm.
We were part of it. We were all the time part of this farm. And so what happened was that I still have the smell of the flowers of jasmine, for example. And my grandfather used to produce jasmine water and other flowers water, lavender, etc. Used to produce them there on the farm with very traditional ways of doing it. And so if we had a headache, if a child sits in the sun, bring some jasmine water on top of your head. It's done. Everything goes away. Uh, I'm not feeling well. We take some other herbs,
Hmm.
put them there, boil them, and all of a sudden, oh, I feel so much better. Just a few herbs. I used to say we had a couple of medicines, traditional medicines, halfway up this sort of medicine, halfway down the other sort of medicine. We never went to a doctor. What doctor? Everything was available. Only very serious cases would go to doctors for surgery or something. And all of a sudden now, I go to any pharmacy, and what do I see? These are our old medicines. And when they tell us we have discovered, everything was there. Everything was there for us to see. And we lived through these plants, through these trees. And we spent the day, we never needed toys. We spent the day climbing up and down trees, eating fruit. That's what we did. That's what we did.
So, in your opinion, does it make sense for you when I say that something as serious as uh, se- menopause symptoms can be cured by moving through forest barefoot, hugging trees, and using herbs? Does that make sense to you, or does that take your memory back?
It is exactly what we need to do for anything that is upsetting us.
Hmm.
Menopause is no exception because menopause, you might feel a bit, drink a few herbs, oil them, you know, and you feel 100 times better. This definitely works with menopause because there is some sort of unease.
Hmm.
You get rid of it. For all sorts of diseases, we feel we are stressed, we are anxious, we're not feeling well. We go out, we go for a walk. And as you say, hug trees. It is said that even leaves on the ground have a smell that cures you. Anyway, I call nature the healer.
Hmm.
It has a title in my life, Nature the Healer. It heals me. The sea has got a label, the sea, my companion. I call the sea my companion. And they are part of what I call my support system. Each one of us needs a support system made up of people, of events, of memories. My support system has a top. At its top, nature. Top of nature, this.
What I'm able to imagine, Dr. Moheba, is that there would be a day very soon that I'll be under your guidance and we'll walk through a forest barefoot,
Wow.
and we will drink water from a spring that is emerging from that mountain, and we will be discovering herbs and learning a lot about how to use those herbs for various things. And there will also be a
Wonderful.
day when you'll guide me how the sea really relaxes you, how it actually takes away all the pain and all that you have accumulated and it just kind of just give it over to her and say, okay, fine, this is yours. Take it with your waves. Tell me a little bit about how you started swimming in the oceans, and how old were you and where did you start this?
I must have been too small to remember because my father must have taken me to the sea and he must have held me tight so that I can get used to the sea. I have no trauma with the sea. I loved the sea from the start. So he must have been quite delicate introducing me to the sea. And then I went through so many studies, but because I was so thin, the doctor said to my father, your daughter needs to go swimming. She needs to grow. She can't just study, study, study. So although my family, I belong to a very conservative family, I was not supposed to go and swim with boys and growing boys. My father said yes. He was so wise, yarhamullah. He was so wise that he allowed me to go. So I started swimming at the age of 11. So I learned how to swim. And then the sea very quickly became my companion. Little by little, I grew up. Every time I had an opportunity to go to the sea, I did. And then I went absorbed by all these studies. I finished my master's, I finished my PhD. And then I always say, I sit down for 1 year. I didn't sit down, actually. I was a full-time professor by then, but I sat down mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I sat down. And I said, what have I done? I have got everything that a successful woman has got. I was married, had 2 kids, my twins, had a house, had a car, had a wonderful career, had a good job. Yes, yes. Who am I? I was someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's mother. Who was I? And that moment was the change in my life. I was 32, and that moment changed my whole life. I said, there's something, I don't think I took good care of myself. Intellectually, yes. Career, yes. Socially, yes. Family, yes. I'm going to take care of myself. And then I started reviewing my earlier childhood, teens, my love for nature, my love for this. And from that moment on, I think I started honoring our contact with nature, honoring just looking round and enjoying life and enjoying what life has given us. And since that moment, I've always said, life has got so many resources.
Yeah.
When a window closes, you look round, oh, there are other windows
True,
open.
true, very true, very true. Very, very true.
You know what, saying this, I'm thinking of meeting you, for example.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When you open your arms to nature, to the universe, you meet people who deserve to meet you and whom you deserve to meet.
Absolutely.
And so,
And what a strange, bizarre thing that has been happening. I'm not too sure whether we'll put this in the video, but how strange can it get that we have been experiencing telepathy? And if you look at it from the typical medical point of view, you can't explain it. But that's, I guess, it's a very, very shallow point of approach. But the moment you start to look at it from a higher realm, a higher degree of consciousness, you realize that that's pretty possible. If you remember, the last time that we were speaking was about quantum entanglement. I just messaged you and you said, wow, what a coincidence it is that you have twins and you've seen this happen live all your life.
yes, indeed. Yes.
And
It is, yeah.
you love the
Please.
sea. I love the sea. I've been involved with the sea for good about 21 odd years of my life, practically half my life. I still miss that.
You're right. You're right. You did tell me this, yeah.
So there's
Yes.
so much unexplained. That how two people, strangers, they come together for a cause and they eventually start to find that, oh God, we've got so much in common. And we needed to meet. I'm not too sure whether we'll put this in the video, but I just wanted to kind of.
Yes. Why do I say yes? We were bound to meet because it's clear that we do not follow labels.
Yeah.
People who follow labels have their eyes covered because they go, oh, but we are not the same culture. Oh, we are not the same gender. We are certainly not the same age. And by the way, we're not the same religion. As you go on and on, you put in one layer on top of another layer, on top of another layer. You don't see each other.
True.
Even if these people could meet, they wouldn't even know they have a single thing in common. Because the moment they say, oh, you're a man, you're much younger, you are Indian, I'm Tunisian, and they go on and on. Because we don't have these labels, we see each other exactly as we are. Two human beings who have so much in common. Our emotions, our emotional side, emotional nature, while being two rational human beings. One goes quite understandably together with the other. And
Yeah. I mean,
so much.
do you really think, Dr. Mohiba, that there's a soul and the soul has a past and the soul moves on? And do you have this concept? Do you believe in this concept?
In my culture, there is no prior, but there is later. Sort of the soul doesn't disappear, the soul doesn't die. So in my own culture, in my own religion, the soul would be born now and continue. As far as I'm concerned, I say, to be frank with you, how would I know? I don't know much. These are unbelievably superior thoughts to my little brain. What do I believe in? I believe in something called soul, yes, definitely. Because, I look around and immediately there are people I connect with. Why? How come I don't know you and I connect with you so spontaneously, so easily? There must be things I simply don't
Yeah.
know. I know things, I know how I feel. I know how emotional I am. I know how I connect easily with someone who's authentic, because that's the key word in my life. And soul to soul, most certainly. There must be something soul to soul. And there might even be, as you have often have explained, some prior something, some later something, some present something, whatever. When I live in the moment,
In our culture, we believe in something very profound. The soul is on a constant journey. And this particular life of ours, the soul has embodied us. That means it has chosen to be in this body. And there's a purpose to the entire journey that this soul is traveling through our bodies. Now, talk about another soul. There is always a connection, and my soul would automatically look for the ones he or she or the soul is actually known and is comfortable with. And the moment you get along with them, or you probably find them, there's an instant connection. And there are people who are born in the same family, brothers, sisters, who don't connect well. And
absolutely
there are
true.
strangers, you will just connect and you'll just blurt out everything without any inhibition. And probably later on you'll realize, oh God, I wasn't like that. I never did that. And how did this happen?
I absolutely understand what you mean. And where do I connect? It's in my own journey. I started a journey where studying was important. Success, oh my God, success, intellectual success and being good at arguments and, challenging all of that. And then acquiring a house and acquiring. And then I one day took my passport and left everything behind. And that's 20 years ago. I came to the Gulf area and they said, why? I said, somehow, I want to refresh who I am. I want to be proud again of who I am. I want to be just lighter. lighter compared to the weight of having to be at that place, with that job, doing those things. I felt lighter. With age, if there is one sentiment that is developing in me, it's feeling lighter. I feel I float now because nothing is connecting me materially to where I am or what I do. Everything is
Wow.
lighter.
What a
I'm
beautiful
getting,
explanation. What a beautiful
yeah,
explanation.
I'm floating, I'm floating like those souls. I feel much more floating, lighter. When I swim, that's why I feel so comfortable, because I'm definitely lighter. And it's this lightness, this disconnection with all that is so material. Material, heavy material. People go crazy because, oh my God, I forgot to buy some juice. Oh my God, this is not enough. I say, so what? I have an expression. My friends know for now. And so what?
Hmm.
And so what? If something is missing, something is not available, no problem. If I'm connected to people, wow, I'm such a happy
And
soul.
probably that's the reason why you are an author, because you have the ability to express it so beautifully. What you just said, I felt like it was just poetry flowing out of you as an expression. Dr. Mouhiba, since you have such a profound feeling and knowledge of how you've transformed yourself, do you think that there's an iota of a chance that you would practice gratitude, or is there any space of this particular word in your dictionary? Do you recognize gratitude as a force?
Gratitude is what I call the mistress of values.
Hmm.
The top, it reigns up there. Because when we have gratitude, we have all the other values gathering, coming to support gratitude. When you say gratitude, it means when I have a simple way of living, I'm still grateful. And when somebody is being really in pain, I would say God has given me the chance to help.
Hmm.
And my gratitude, I often say, my gratitude is not just for having got so much, it's for having had the chance to give. And so I feel filled with gratitude. That's how I feel it. Now, gratitude came to me at an early age.
Hmm.
My father was extremely spiritual. And as a little girl, I lived in a very, very wealthy family, my mother's family,
Okay.
and then moved to live with my own parents. And my own parents had nothing compared to my grandparents'
Hmm.
house, farm. Oh, everything was there. So when I changed houses, I would hear my father say, "Thank you, God, for having given us all this." And I would say, "What is all this he's talking about?
Hmm.
What earth is all this?" And I used to laugh,
Hmm.
just try to. And then I realized he was talking. He was a sage. He was talking with a lot of wisdom. So very quickly, I realized the importance of this. I realized the importance of just being grateful. As simple as that. Being grateful. That's all I have. Other values have come at a later age. Like forgiveness has come to me at a later age. But gratitude did come to me at a very, very early age.
This is a very beautiful point that you've made, that people who practice gratitude are more settled, they're more grounded. And what I'm trying to imagine here is one last question and a last takeaway that I wish to share with you, would ask for your um, uh, version of it. Should there be a chance that there should be a space where people who feeling heavy, who feeling stressed with life, and who don't know exactly what's happening, they have a place where they just go and they've got everything. They've got sea, they've got mountains, they've got a beach to ground, and they've got a wonderful person like you to talk so sweetly, to actually flow poetry onto them, and to express what life's real values are. I would wish that someday a space like this exists. And I promise to you on this show that I would work very hard to make sure that something of this order happens.
I couldn't be happier if we could make this dream come true. And dreams do come true.
Yes.
My own little girl's dreams practically always come true. So let's hope we have this wonderful dream come true. Because whenever I have people around, I have one wish. Let them enjoy every moment they have. They would have come from far away. They would have used their vacation, sometimes short vacation, to be there. I will do my very, very best so that they spend the best holidays,
Perfect.
the best rest days, the best wonderful days together with us.
Perfect.
That would be a perfect dream.
Perfect. And with that note, Dr. Mouhiba, I will end this show, but with a promise. And the promise is that I wish that we join on another such podcast, another such show, and we discuss about bigger aspects of holistic health. I would wish that you spread your knowledge and your wisdom onto a lot many people like me who are wishing to, who are seekers. And with your grace, the way you explain things, I have no words for it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mouhiba, for joining in. And
thank you, Haman. It has been a wonderful time spent with you and with your audience. And I wish we can do this again and again.
Absolutely.
It has been a great pleasure. A great pleasure for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mouhiba.
And see you, Haman.
Absolutely.